Hello everyone, welcome to CEC online lectures. The topic of analysis and study is understanding prospects for cooperation and challenges, the case study of South Asian regional cooperation. Dear learners, I am Dr. Amna. I teach political science at SPM College for Women, University of Delhi. Now, in this analysis that we will be taking forward, we will have a look at issues of regional integration, namely in terms of benefits and advantages. Then we understand South Asian region as a case study wherein and then try to understand the areas of cooperation and also the challenges that hinder prospects of cooperation in the South Asian region. As we begin our journey, at the outset, let us understand regional integration. By regional integration, it is implied that neighboring countries get together for cooperation. A systemic effort is made, a systematic avenues are laid in order to ensure benefits, gains, advantages and cooperation. This brings us to the next aspect, that there are various types of regional cooperation and regional integration arrangements, namely free trade area, customs union and economic union, amongst others. Now, when we look at regional integration, it has several advantages as well as disadvantages. Some of the advantages offered by regional integration are economic development, prospects for cooperation, hammering out consensus on various issues. Then any apparatus has its own advantages as well as disadvantages. When we look at regional integration, this also applies here, that it has advantages, it has disadvantages also, namely diversion of trade flows, issues of loss of jobs, amongst others. Now, when we look at international theories like political economy approach, neoliberal institutional perspective, liberal theories of international cooperation definitely offer avenues for study of regional integration with respect to the process of globalization in international relations. When we try to understand regional integration theory, there are four aspects that one must take into account. First, the state, followed by the organizational capacity, then multilateralism, and lastly, geography. Now, when we take these facts with respect to the South Asian region, we get the idea, the apparatus to study, that is of SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Now, with occupation of nearly 3% of world area, being home to 21% approximately that of world population, South Asia definitely presents prospects for analysis and research when it comes to its challenges and opportunities. Now, when we try to understand South Asia, let's have a look at certain facts. SAARC, its primary apparatus for regional cooperation, was established in the year 1985, presenting new avenues for its member countries in realm of economic development, social progress, cultural horizon, SAARC presented out to be a great novel idea. It is headquartered in Kathmandu, Nepal, and Afghanistan joined SAARC in the year 2007. Further, when we try to understand SAARC, we now have a look at the objectives, principles, and structure. When we try to understand the objective of SAARC, its broad outlines are laid by the member countries of SAARC, namely economic development, social progress, cultural development, self-reliance, working out avenues for cooperation and friendly relations amongst countries as well as with other developing countries. When we have a look at the principles of SAARC, certain very sacred ideas come forward, namely respect for political sovereignty, territorial integrity, political equality, mutual cooperation, independence of all member states, amongst others. This brings us to the other aspect, that is structure. The SAARC has an elaborate structure with Council of Ministers and other related councils to manage its various areas of concerns, followed with a secretariat. Now, this is very essential to see that how from the first SAARC summit in 1985 in Dhaka to the 8th SAARC summit in 1995 in New Delhi, or to the 18th SAARC summit that was held at Kathmandu in the year 2014, SAARC has indeed come a long way, battling out challenges, working out on new areas of opportunities and concerns alike. Because any integration implies that one has to look at related areas of concerns along with various avenues of cooperation also, and SAARC also has witnessed all of it right from its inception in 1985. Let us now have a look at certain areas wherein SAARC member countries can cooperate together. Agriculture and rural development is one such area. If we look at some of the reports and proceedings of SAARC Agricultural Ministers Conference in the past years, there have been the need that has been placed on record for the need of experts in policy making with respect to agriculture, the need to enhance areas of cooperation in agriculture. So therefore, agriculture is one area because food stability and food security is of prime importance to SAARC countries. Agriculture is one of the main occupations of several people inhabiting in the SAARC region. So therefore, right cooperation in agricultural avenues, working out trade-offs, trying to balance out differences shall go a long way in getting more benefits out of SAARC. Another area wherein SAARC offers huge opportunities for its members is that of trade. Now today there are several reports that have pointed out that how today, taking examples from the European Union, taking examples from ASEAN as a case study, that how members must reduce their dependence on the developed world, how through mutual cooperation member states must work out avenues of cooperation, benefits, advantages for and with each other. So therefore, trade is one area wherein right cooperation shall also lead to adequate development of jobs and employment. Another area where SAARC countries must think together for and highlighting various issues of cooperation is that of energy security. We all know that energy is playing a very important role in the power dynamics, in the power avenues of global politics. So when we look at SAARC, countries must get together to deliberate on low carbon alternatives, working out new sources of energy, supporting each other's quest for rise as a energy power. There have been several reports also in this regard by several international organizations pointing towards areas where SAARC members can cooperate with each other. Another significant area which offers ample opportunities for SAARC countries is that of information technology. Today, we are seeing that there is a need for right synergies of efforts. There is a need to factor in efficiencies. So therefore, SAARC countries can get together to get benefits of the information technology revolution. And this information technology revolution will pave way for mutual gains together. Further, when we try to understand the ambit of cooperation for SAARC, right from management of rise of new kinds of non-military threats, non-traditional security dimensions like disasters, pandemics, SAARC countries can get together for a collective, unified voice to manage climate change, global warming, pandemics, disaster management, and all these areas with right cooperation. SAARC can definitely show a unique example to world over. So therefore, when we try to understand the idea of benefits of regional integration, taking the case study of South Asian region, we see that how the ideas of neoliberalism with respect to the realist ideas and the neo-realist perspectives, that is how states must focus on new ambit of cooperation. Through mutual gains, there are avenues available wherein states can work out avenues of advantages and cooperation. Today, there has been decline in use of military as a force and factor in international relations. Today, power has acquired new dimensions and therefore security is also impacted by it, with the rise of new issues concerning power dynamics like health, technology, food security, job security, livelihood security, economic security, political security, individual and group security, amongst others. So therefore, SAARC must factor in right cooperation with international organizations like the United Nations, the Food and Agricultural Organization, the World Health Organization in management of various dimensions of new security threats. Further, with right cooperation, SAARC countries can move together in the right direction, because breeding tensions definitely presents a big setback to issues of economic development, social progress, cultural horizons, amongst others. Now, with this, now let's have a look at some of the challenges that are there which SAARC nations have to encounter while taking into account the way forward for cooperation. One of the biggest challenges that is there for SAARC nations is that of the geopolitics, wherein the tensions of the geopolitics hamper out, leading to one nation feeling at loss with respect to the other nation, because ultimately for any country it is the national interest, which is of supreme importance. No doubt, SAARC has made great progress with its specialized agencies like South Asian Arbitration Council, South Asian University, South Asian Regulatory Framework, amongst others. However, one cannot dismiss the difference in security threats and perceptions as well as the geopolitical tension that hamper cooperation. Then comes the related issue of lack of finance. No doubt there are ambitious ideas like getting together to factor out right food supply chains, working out right avenues of natural resource management, better management of human forces and human resources. But at the same time, the issue of financial viability, availability of finance definitely has impacted many of SAARC initiatives, and nations must think about addressing aspects of budgeting and finance for cooperative avenues. Another significant area of concern when it comes to discussing SAARC is that how today SAARC is marked by certain well-defined regional and cultural differentiation in terms of availability of resources, economic gains, geography, amongst others. Countries have to take this factor into account before bandwagoning with any other country in terms of meaningful and mature trade relations and in terms of fostering a sustained trade dialogue. Then when we look at another issues that are there, that is of implementation and efficacy. Today, no doubt the ambit of working of government in each SAARC country has expanded with the rise of new market forces, with the rise of international business apparatus, but lack of implementation, wherein the ideas, the great plans of before and after summit remained mainly on paper and were not executed in due thought and spirit. This too must be taken into account while looking at some of the significant challenges that are confronting SAARC region. Further, it is very essential to have a comparative learning exercise, namely wherein we have to look at other regional organizations and other avenues of regional cooperation like European Union, ASEAN, NAFTA, amongst others, in terms of having a comparative learning experience as to what are the factors that led to their success and what were the issues where nations in the respective alliances had a difference of opinion. So therefore, when we try to understand any regional cooperative apparatus and agreement, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. There are prospects for new opportunities and growth, and then there are prospects for issues of challenges, thorny areas, contentious issues wherein factoring in consensus looks difficult. And SAARC for all these parameters is no different, starting from its journey in 1985 to the current time where the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji tried to factor in the idea of health security for managing the pandemic via a video conferencing with all stakeholders of the SAARC region. So therefore SAARC has indeed come a long way, and yes, it has many issues wherein it has to work together. However, there have been certain drawbacks and setbacks owing to the huge amount of differences of geopolitics, of finance, of perspectives, of security threats, of differences. Nonetheless, these differences have never deterred SAARC nations to get together to work out avenues of cooperation to sort out differences. At the same time, it is very important for the SAARC nation countries to voice out challenges of the future in unequivocal terms, namely international terrorism, financing of terrorists, issues of nuclear proliferation. All of it has to be met with due transparency and trust for SAARC to be a much meaningful regional organization and apparatus. So dear learners, the CEC lecture on the very significant topic of understanding growth prospects and challenges of South Asian region presented to you a huge canvas, right from understanding issues of regional integration, the important aspects that are to be factored in while understanding regional integration theories, and most important, SAARC, how it has come a long way from its establishment in 1985 to the present time, where it is being looked upon as an important arena to factor in cooperation from various issues like agriculture, health, food, information technology, transportation, energy, amongst others. Though tensions definitely remain, yet SAARC, with all its apparatus, definitely presents opportunities for all its member states. Thank you, learners, for being with us for this lecture on South Asian region, prospects for opportunities and challenges. Thank you.